Hey everyone, it's Carissa Wiley here at Sprinkled with Glitter. Thanks for joining me today. Today I am sharing this fun Christmas card featuring an instant photo frame shaker element. This is a really easy shaker element to build up on the front of your card. And I'm going to be featuring some of the new dies from the Essentials by Ellen holiday release for 2020. So I'm starting out with this instant photo frame die. This is the larger of the two included in the instant photo frame die set from the Essentials by Ellen line. And I'm going to die cut this die from Neenah Solar White Heavyweight cardstock 5 times. This is going to take the place of foam adhesive on my card and allow me to build up a well inside of this frame without using foam adhesive. Then I'm taking the brand new Deer Antlers die from the Essentials by Ellen line, and I'm die cutting it from this really cool wood grain embossed cardstock. It looks absolutely so cool with these deer antlers, and I love the way it turned out. Now, in order to create this shaker element, I need to create a window. So with the top layer of this instant photo frame, I'm going to flip that over. I'm going to add some liquid glue around the window and add a piece of clear plastic on the back of that. And that's going to contain all of my shaker bits. Then the other 4 die cut pieces, I am going to layer up with some liquid glue. Now you could use some tape runner if you wanted to. I had the liquid glue out and it seemed easy enough to me to just use the liquid glue. Plus, the liquid glue gives you some time to kind of really push these into place and make sure they're lined up really well. So I'm going to take and layer this up 4 different times so that I have a nice deep well for my shaker element. Now, if you see that panel over to the upper left-hand side, that was die cut using a brand new cover die from the Essentials by Ellen line. I love that die. It's called Twirling Flurries because it creates the pattern on your cardstock, but it doesn't have an outer cutting edge. So you can use it to die cut any piece of cardstock that you may have, and it's not going to interfere with the size of it. You could even place it on a larger 5x7 piece of cardstock and have it right in the middle, and it won't interfere with the sizing of your cardstock at all. Now I have it die cut and kind of ink blended here because I thought I was going to use that and I didn't end up using it. So you'll see me switch that out later, but I did want to just acknowledge what was up there and tell you what it was. So now I have the Hinged numbers dies. These are from the Essentials by Ellen line, and they cut the numbers, but there's a hinge on them, so they don't release from the cardstock. They're meant to kind of create like these dimensional effects. You can see this is the entire set die cut here, and they're staying inside of the cardstock because it doesn't complete the cut so that you can have these hinged numbers. But I'm actually just taking and trimming them out so that I can use them as standalone numbers without them kind of being that pop-up effect. Now the first set I colored with like a dark, really dark gray Copic marker, and the 2 and the 5 on this set, I am going to kind of create an ombre effect using some Copic markers. I'll have those linked below. And then I can take them over to my trimmer, and I'm just making sure that my cut line lines up with the hinge that this die creates and cutting right along that hinge line. And these just fall out and leave this perfect little number die cut. And I'm going to take those and layer them up over the top of the die cuts that I colored with the dark gray Copic marker just to kind of give it a shadow effect. And then I'll use some foam adhesive to adhere them onto the top layer of my instant frame shaker element. So I'm going to add all of my kind of elements to the top of my shaker frame here, and they're just going to kind of build up and create a really fun die cut and sentiment grouping. So I really wanted a sentiment that said believe, and I couldn't find one in my stash that would work. So I just took a piece of vellum over to a little typewriter that I have in my craft room, and I typed the word believe onto this vellum, and I die cut it with this little arrow strip that comes with the instant frame die set from the Essentials by Ellen line. And this allowed me to create a greeting that I wanted for the front of my card and in the size that I needed it. You could also print a greeting out on some vellum using your computer. So if you want to create a custom greeting, a typewriter or computer is a great way to do that. Now I'm adhering all of my elements, including those antlers. I'm using some foam adhesive for the antlers, and then I'm using a little bit of liquid adhesive for this believe sentiment, and I'm kind of just making everything a little bit wonky. Just nothing's kind of like straight. It's just kind of got some angles going on. It creates some interest here. And this entire frame is going to go at an angle on my card front. So I thought it would be fun to kind of repeat that idea of angles with all of my elements. Now I also have this Essentials by Ellen red droplet. And it is a very orange red, and it wasn't quite matching with the numbers that I had created. So I am just taking my R39 Copic marker and coloring over the top of that red droplet to create a little more depth and make that red droplet match the numbers that I created. And then I can take that and just adhere it with a little bit of liquid adhesive right below the antler grouping there. So I have this adorable grouping of die cuts. And when you have this much going on with all the die cuts and the elements, you don't need a lot on your card base. And so that's when I changed my mind about that twirling flurries background. And instead, I grabbed the Warmest Wishes stamp set. This is new from the Essentials by Ellen Holiday 2020 line. And I'm using like this little, it's almost like a washi tape stamp. And I'm inking it up in some Concord and 9th Evergreen ink and just stamping it a few times at an angle on my card front. You can see they're not perfect. And then I'm going to take this little snowflake. This is from the Made This For You stamp set, also new from the Essentials by Ellen line. And I'm just stamping it in some light gray ink so that it kind of shows through my shaker window here on the card. So it'll be a very faint kind of pattern that kind of blends into the background, but it kind of creates a little bit of texture behind all of the shaker elements and kind of just creates like another layer. So once I have my stamping done, I can take these layered up frames and adhere them onto my card front using a little bit of liquid adhesive. And then I am using some shaker elements from High Supply. I'm using the really sparkly stars. They are so cool. They're almost holographic, as well as the ice confetti from High Supply. I will have these linked below. And I'm just shaking them directly into that frame. Then I'll add some more liquid adhesive and take my frame topper that has the plastic layer on there and all of my die cut elements, and I'm going to place that over the top, and that's going to hold all of those shaker bits inside of that frame on my card front. Now, shaker windows are really fun to create on a card base, but I absolutely love it when you can build up your shaker element using dies like this. And so this instant photo frame, I've used it for shaker elements like this before. It works beautifully. So now I have a piece of blush cardstock. I've adhered it to my A2 top folding size card base, and I'm using the My Favorite Things lined by hand background stamp inked up with some ballet slipper ink from Concord and 9th, and I'm just stamping that pattern onto that pink cardstock. And then I added my entire card front onto the card base using some foam adhesive. I sprinkled some more of that star confetti onto the front of my card and finished this off with a little twine bow there at the bottom. And that completes my Christmas card featuring an instant frame shaker element. I absolutely love this color grouping here. You've got the red and the pink and that green, a little bit of craft cardstock. And I love the way all of these colors and elements work together to give you a Christmas vibe, but it's not like red and green traditional Christmas vibe. And so I think it's a really fun twist on your traditional Christmas card. As always, I will have links to the featured supplies used in this project in the description at YouTube, but head on over to my blog at sprinkledwithglitter.com. I will have that linked below. Over there, you'll find more still shots, more information, and a complete list of supplies. Thanks for joining me today. I really hope you enjoyed this idea and this video. If you did, be sure to give the video a thumbs up. Don't forget to turn on the notifications and subscribe here to my YouTube channel. And if you would, share it with a friend who you think would like it as well. Thanks again for watching. I'm so glad you're here. And until next time, I hope you have a fabulous day.